Hello everyone, my name is Dorothy Waide and I'm a Karatani Mothercraft nurse, and I have over 52 years of experience with newborns up to toddlers, better known as a sleep consultant. So today we're going to talk about dummies. Now everyone thinks I hate the dummy. I think it's the most amazing thing, especially for newborn babies, because when a newborn baby is birthed, they're not necessarily wanting to feed, but they want to suck because they've had their fingers in their mouth, in the womb, like that for most of their life. We come along and we take it out because we swaddle them. Now I haven't swaddled Sammy because we're going to go through newborn to older. And so along comes a dummy. So a dummy is really good, but it is how we use it. Now when you put a dummy in a baby's mouth, they will push it out or they won't take it or whatever. Now this is a bit hard. Oh yeah, the dummy does go in. When I put the dummy in the gag, it falls out. Wait a few seconds. Try putting it back in again. It's a little bit harder with the doll, okay? Now, if it stays, it's fine. But the baby will have a couple of sucks and then it will fall out. Because you imagine, when you're holding your baby to the breast, so we've got our baby in our breastfeeding position, and we're holding our baby feeding, nice comfy position like that. We're bottle feeding, and I didn't bring a bottle with me, but just pretend we're bottle feeding. Okay, in a nice long stretched out position like breastfeeding. We are actually holding those utensils there. We're holding the bottle, we're holding the breast. So when we put a dummy in a baby's mouth, there is nothing to hold it. So it is going to fall out just like that. Now magically some babies, young babies do keep them. Now the use of a dummy is not to stop them from talking to us. So responsive parenting is about stepping back and listening to our babies and then intervening and supporting them. So Sammy is, let's just say Sammy's 11 weeks now, okay? Under 11 weeks, I tend to use it a little bit more, but I don't use it if I'm changing the baby. I don't use it if I'm bathing the baby. I don't use it if the baby's lying on the floor kicking. They're making a noise, they're talking to us, and it's our responsibility to figure out what is going on, okay? They might need to be held, they might have gas, they might be tired. They don't necessarily need this, and they could be hungry. So Sammy is over 6 weeks, he's an older baby. What I've done is with self-settling, he gets us around the 5-minute mark. So I pop him in the cot, I step right back, lie down on the bed, lie on the floor, or leave the room. When his noise is inappropriate or it's inappropriate time, an inappropriate noise is different for every baby because every parent feels it differently. I come back in, I come with my dummy, and I come back in and I touch, I close my eyes, and my touch actually calms him. And I might be able to stand there for about 5 minutes just doing this. I might stand here for 10 seconds and he's crying. So if he's crying, I do my cupping again and my mindful breathing. I stop, he's still crying. I pause, I offer him the dummy. Now when I put the dummy in, I might just touch my finger because he's used to sucking it. So I might just put my finger like that just to give it a bit of stability and do my cupping. I'm not going to ram my hand on his face like that. I'm not going to push it in. It is a gentle touch. And I do that again and he's calm. So I just sit there or stand there over the cot doing this. And within about 10 minutes, he's fast asleep. So I leave that hand there. I don't need this hand on there anymore at the moment. Leave my hand there and I leave the room because he's gone to sleep. Now, once he's gone to sleep, somehow the dummy's fallen out. And it's about the 40-minute mark and he starts to cry, or he starts to stir actually because he's still young. So he started to stir, so I get myself into the room. I either take a dummy with me or I know where the dummy is because I saw it on the camera, put my hands on here and I start my cupping. Now it's no good resettling with a cupping like that. It's got to be good movement, okay? Good movement. And he's waking up a little bit too much, so I give him the dummy. And I have to do that to get the dummy in a doll's mouth, you don't. And then I put my finger there and I'll stay there and I'll do mindful breathing, cupping off and on for however long it takes me to get my baby back to sleep, and it can take 45 minutes. Once he's really gone back to sleep, I stop, and I might have only been cupping for 10 minutes, but I might stand there for another 5 minutes. Then I'll do what I call phantom touch or phantom cupping above the baby, and if he stays asleep, I just leave the room and exit. So a dummy is not for plugging. A dummy is used for a sleep tool. So you allow him to talk to you, and then you use this to help him go to sleep. Now, a lot of people say, oh, but he really likes dummy and I'll give it to him straight away. That's great. But what happens when he's 6 months plus and a toddler, and he's walking around the house with the dummy in his mouth all day? Which can, and that's your choice. So you do what you want to do as a parent. I'm just giving you guidelines. So it does affect their speech because they're trying to speak behind a dummy and it just doesn't work. And also you have big dummy fights, and then all of a sudden you're doing dummy runs all night long as well, and you get really annoyed with it, and somebody will say, oh, just throw the dummy away. You can't. It is their comforter. If I came into your home and took away your comforter, what would you feel? Okay? So you cannot take this dummy away. You need to wean them off, just how I showed you just then. Okay, I use that tool from the beginning, but if you've used this for plugging your baby, then you have to start self-settling with your baby in the cot and only give it to them when they need it. Now, if they're 6 months plus, I put 3 dummies in their cot. I've only got 1 dummy with me, and I've still got more dummies, so that when I go, so if he wants to pick it up himself, so he picks it up himself, he brings it over and he puts it in his mouth himself. That's great, he can do that. Same as a toddler. But don't put it in for them, and don't hand it to them. Put it in the cot. And that's the quickest way to avoid dummy runs overnight, because they learn to self-settle and resettle without the dummy in the beginning. And as they get older, they can find the dummies themselves. Now, there are toys that you can clip the dummies onto, but I would suggest that you don't use any dummy holder that's got a, what do you call them, a lead on it, or not a string, but like material going down to a toy. It does have to be attached to the toy, okay? And that's it about dummies. So if you're going to use a dummy, respect the dummy. Don't abuse it, because it's really good. For the toddlers, if you can't get it out of their mouths and they run around, what I do from even 6 months plus is I make a dummy bed. Like I get an old matchbox or an old box and pretty it up and make a bed. And especially for the older toddlers, they put the dummies into that, and it's up high so that they can't see it, or in the top drawer, so that if they want the dummy, they need to come back and sit on their cot. So if they want a dummy, you put them in their cots, and that's where the dummy stays. I had a 3-year-old who's now a very grown-up young lady, and at 3 she used to have her dummies under her pillow. Nobody knew that she had dummies at that age, because they were for sleeping. They were her comforter. So if you don't want to lose your comforter, don't take your baby's dummy away from them, because it's a comforter. And I hope that helps. Thank you.